What's up, guys? Today we're going to go over 5 tips to go through before our further maths paper 1. So, firstly, just don't stress out before this. This is going to be a fine exam. Remember, it's not that different to normal maths, you just have to add some further topics to it. So, let's go into the first tip. Firstly, show that questions to your advantage. This is like more prevalent in A-level questions, but it applies for normal GCSE and for further maths as well. You get questions. These questions are the only way to know that 100% that you have the full marks, because if you've got the right answer that it asks you, then that is all your marks. And if you've shown it out decently, you'll still get all the marks. For example, this and this, it literally tells you the answer in the question, so you know the last mark isn't even there. You just need to get 1 mark really to actually find the answer, because the last mark is there for you, is in the answer. If you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is the answer, you just need to find how to get to that answer. Number 2, actually check your work. This is very important for normal GCSE and specifically further maths. This, flicking back and looking at each answer 0.5 seconds, absolutely not. We should not be doing that. Look at quickly reading your entire working out for every single question, especially the earlier one. This is more important because you don't need to redo every of these. Definitely do this, but also don't just do this. You want to be doing some of the further stuff as well. You need to substitute your answers back in to make sure that you get the correct answer. For example, if you have like a line and you need to substitute the points in to see that your point actually sits on the line, because it might not work, they might not equal each other. That is definitely something you should be doing. And this is something that if you will get like 7, 8, 9s if you can do this well. You should be using alternate methods to compare answers and secure full marks. For example, with 3-way simultaneous equations, you should be using multiple different ways and paths to get to your answer. Maybe just some normal different paths, or maybe going as far as like Gaussian elimination, which if you want to learn, then you can do that, which is definitely something you should be doing. Right, 3, this is fully focused on trig identities. This part is a very, very difficult topic, so we'll be giving you 3 tips for trig identities. Firstly, get rid of tan. If you see a tan, get rid of it. It's just there to confuse you, because when you have just sines and cosines, they will start cancelling out, which leads into the next point. Put everything together. If you have 2 fractions or 2 of anything, if you have 2 multiplied terms, just either put the fraction together or just convert your trig functions if you have sine squared or cos squared, and put it all into one equation, and then everything again will start cancelling out. This was a killer question from I think the 2021 paper, but all you had to do was convert the over tan x into multiplied by cos over sine x, and it basically became extremely easy because you could just put it all into one fraction and just simplify down. Last thing, work from the left. For some reason, I see people looking at this question, even though this is an easy example that anyone should be able to do, I see them working from the right, but however, you should definitely be working from the left here, because you need to simplify the expression down, not just try and blindly re-expand it by just adding random sines and causes out of nowhere. This doesn't apply to this question that much, but it's just an example, so you should be starting from this side, not this side. Next tip. Always write something. We get a question like this. If you don't write something, you get 0 marks. If we get a question like this, you might have no idea what to do, but it's 5 marks, even though it's early on a paper, and most people should be able to get something like this with enough time. You should definitely be able to get point C at least, which gives you a free mark. You can literally get a free mark. Just look at the graph. It tells you the points. You can find the y-intercepts, but it gives you the A point with the line. So you know A is 0, 2, and you can know that C is 0, 10 because OA to AC is 1 to 4. Easy mark. Even if you have no idea how to get to D or B, you could still do this. Number 5, this is specific to paper 1. Use the non-calculated trait as an advantage. If you get a horrible fraction for something like a gradient or like a quadratic answer, you have to substitute back into an equation or compute to find an exact answer, then go back and redo your question to see if you can find any errors that you made. And if you do, then that's probably because the non-calculated answers are made to be better numbers. Let's say the roots will most likely cancel out in questions that involve roots, and other stuff like that. This also happens more in paper 1, where you get also when you substitute back in from coming back to earlier, this happens a lot more in paper 1. There's answers where you can substitute to check your answers back in, because in paper 2 you can just put your stuff back in a calculator. So in paper 1 they tend to do more stuff like this, so you can actually check stuff. Most people don't use this fact, but you should be using this to be able to make sure, again, that you get all your answers fully correct. Here's a bonus tip. You have an hour and 45. That's 15 minutes more than the normal higher maths paper. You also, because it's AQA, get 3 to 4 spare pages at the end to do working out. You should be using these because lots of the questions will use all the space, especially because of the annoying lines that AQA has on their maths papers. Right, thanks for watching. Hopefully you'll be able to get like 10 to 20 marks more on your papers because of that, and I hope you do well.